Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Toronto Real Estate Board for the month of April, and they are very, very good. I got some great news for you. So let's have a look at some of these numbers, and at the end, I got a very special announcement today. So anyway, here we got January, February, March, April. What should happen in the spring? Sales should be going up every month, which that's definitely happening. So here we got January did 4,000 sales. Went up to 5,000, okay, in the month of February, which was up by 25%. Then we went to 7,187, which was up by 43%. And of course, in April, we went over 9,000 sales. What a beautiful number. And that was up by 25%. What's happening with our inventory? Because that determines the strength of the market. So this is active listings at the end of the month. See, in January, we had roughly 12,000 listings. Then we went to just over 13,000. That was up by 11%. Over 15,000, up by 17%. And up 18,000, which was up by 15%. But here's what I want you to think about. And this is something you need to be discussing with buyers and sellers and help them understand this number. So look at this. If our sales went up by 25% in the month of April, and our inventory went up by 15 or almost 16% right here, what does that mean? Our sales were up, okay, in terms of percentage higher than our listings actually went up. So that means our months of inventory should be dropping, and that means the market is actually strengthening. Okay, so look at this, months of inventory. In other words, if you take the amount of sales, divide it into the active listings, it gives us a months of inventory. Supply and demand, that's what's going to determine your prices. So let's look at then happening here. We got 3 months of inventory, went down to 2.6. Do you see sales were up by 25%, listings only up by 11%, that number's going down. Then look what happened here. You can see went down to 2.2. In other words, you can see 43% sales were up, listings only up by 17%. Look at this number starting to drop. And of course, in April, look what happened here again. So you can see, obviously, sales up by 25%, listings up by 16%. This is dropping even more. So if that is the case, because if you think about a balanced market is 4 to 6 months of inventory, which means we're sitting in a buyer's market in the Greater Toronto area. Now, remember, property type will determine how much inventory you had, because high-end detached, you're probably going to have higher amounts of months of inventory. Probably the lower price stuff is going to be lower. But if you look, that means our prices should be rising. Look at 748 to 780 to 788 and up to 820. See, as your inventory drops, your prices are naturally going to start to rise. And what else should be going down are days in the market. Same thing. Look at. We're here at 3, went down to 33. You can see as this starts to drop 25, 21, and 19. So all good news. You're in a very strong market right now in the spring. But what about compared to last year? So if we look here, we did about 9,000 sales, obviously this April, only 7,700 last year in the same month. So what a beautiful thing. We're up substantially. And of course, we did 11,468 in 2017, which was crazy, right? So if we go back 2 years, we had 1.1 months of inventory, went to 2.4, and now we're down to 2.0. So this is the really good news here. This was still a good market. But look what's going on right now. Inventory down, sales are up, a lot of good things happening right now. Here's your prices. Look at your prices year over year, went from 805 up to 820. Well, that's a price by about $15,000, which was almost a price increase of 5%. Now, nothing compared to what it was a number of years ago, but listen, 5% is a pretty healthy price increase based on foreign buyer tax went in, stress testing went in, rates been going up. Not this year, they're starting to go down again, I understand that, but still, this is very, very healthy, but we had a lot of rate increases over the last couple of years. This is cool. Now, I'm going to suggest that you all create this, and you should be using this when you're on listing presentations or talking to buyers. So what this is a graph that shows the months of inventory for really the last 2.5 years. So 2017 is right here. So if we go back to January of 2017, you can see we start with 1 month of inventory. No inventory at all, right? Then it went down below a month, then it went just over 1. Now what happened in April of 2017? You remember? Foreign buyer tax went in. Now watch what happens to inventory. Look at this, up to almost 2. Okay, hit 2, went up over 3, down a little bit, up back a little bit, and we ended the year right here, you can see, with 2.7 months of inventory. So you can see what happened with the foreign buyer tax. Market weakened, which means sales are going down, inventory is going up, right? This is what's going on. What about 2018? We started at 3, okay? Now what happened here? Remember that? Yes, we had stress testing started to take place. So we went down a little bit, then all of a sudden it started to go up just a little bit. We're at 2.5 right there, sitting just over 2.5, and it sort of cruised along, got a little higher here up over 3, and then we ended the year at 3 months of inventory. Now we go back to 2019, started at 3, and look at the line. It's going down, so we're now going below what was going on in 2018, heading a little more towards where we were here in 2017, but I sure don't suspect we're going to see this happen this year at all. I think we'll probably cruise around, 3 months of inventory, maybe slightly below, maybe slightly above is where I think we're going to end up. So what a beautiful thing to look at. Everything is trending the right way, which is good. So let's look at this, what I call this micro market. So I've got 416 and 905. So we've got the different property types. We got detached, we got semis, we got townhouses, and we got condo apartments. So what's going on? If you look, detached, we had 2.2 months of inventory, strong. We had 2.8 in the 905. This is a 416. 416 in semis, we had 1.3 months of inventory and only 1.1 in the 905. So 905 is a little stronger than the 416. Townhouses the same, 1.5. Condo apartments, 1.4 in the 905 and 1.5 in the 905. I have 416 here and 905. Now, think about this. If you're in the 905 or the 416, and if you're not having a great year, it is not the market. Now, the challenge is we're sometimes reading the papers and we're hearing what's going on all across Canada. We get so caught up in the negativity, and what's really interesting is whatever we believe inside our head will control our behavior. But what I can say to you right now, if you're in the Greater Toronto area in the real estate industry, the market is very, very good. So it's a good time to be working and making it happen. Look at the prices, 416, 905. The average prices, you can see detached 1.3, 416, 914 and 905. Same thing with semi-detached, 1,690,000, substantially less than the 905, 757, 627 for townhouses. And look at condo apartments, 637 in the 416 and 483 in the 905. So you can see why people would be looking at moving out here, because when the stress test came in 2018, it took away about 20 to 25% of the purchasing power, okay, that 2% stress test. So a lot of people, maybe they've got to lower their expectations and maybe move out into the 905, who knows. This is interesting. We have 53,000 real estate agents right now in the Toronto Real Estate Board. And last month, we did 9,042 sales. Now, when you look at those two numbers, do you see a problem there? Yes, the problem would be we had like 44,000 real estate agents that didn't do a sale. Think about that number, 44,000 agents didn't do a sale. Actually, it's worse than that. You know why? Because a lot of these agents did more than one sale, didn't they? Which means there's a lot of real estate agents not doing sales. So here's what I'm saying, and I think that's a great eye-opener just for 1 month, is that the challenge I see is this. We have lots of agents. And the reason we have lots of agents is because the barrier of entry into real estate is low. Come on, you don't have to go to school for a long time. You don't have to invest a lot of money to get a real estate license. So the challenge is a lot of people have licenses that are maybe even only part-time. They're not even full-time in what it is they do. I remember in Vegas one time, I get into an Uber, a guy asked me what it is I do, and I said, oh, I've got a real estate coaching company. And he goes, well, I'm a real estate agent. I'm going, okay, good for you, man. That's really good. You're going to get about $12 off of me from this trip to the airport in Las Vegas. You must be killing in real estate that you need that $12 you're driving an Uber. But what's that person doing? Probably waiting for his uncle's wife's, cousin's daughter to someday buy or sell a home, and hopefully they get the deal. That's what we got going on. So I think a lot of people are interested in being successful, but the challenge is not a lot of people are committed to being successful. Big difference, right, between interested in something and committed to something. So the deal is this. The opportunities right now, right across Canada and the United States in real estate, it's unbelievable. Like I can look at these numbers and go, wow, it's great. So if we're not producing at the result that you want to produce, then the challenge is not the marketplace. The challenge is maybe your lack of commitment to the industry. Because when you start to look at these numbers, for us to be great, we got to get out there and we got to make it happen. We got to have great lead generating strategies. We've got to have lead conversion strategies. We've got a great lead follow-up. We got to have professional listing presentations, professional buyer presentations. We got to be really good at time management. Like, these are all the things that we got to master. And if you master that, the opportunities in this business is amazing. But just understand that even though the market's really good, it's still a challenging industry because of the number of people that are in the industry. Now, I think you're going to see that drop off a little bit over the next year, 18 months, that sort of thing. But the secret is this: you want to be successful, commit to the industry constantly by studying the market. Know what's going on so you can have valuable conversations with buyers and sellers, and they see your value just by having a conversation with you. Now, big announcement is this. I've launched a podcast. It's called Extraordinary Business and Beautiful Life. Okay, that's what it's all about. We're actually calling it the Richard Robbins Show. So if you're interested in hearing when we launch the podcast, the way to do that is you need to be on our email list. So if you're already on an email list and if you're getting emails from us on a regular basis, no big deal, you're going to be notified. But if you're not, go to our website, richardrobbins.com. Go ahead and subscribe to the email newsletter, and when the podcast launch, you're going to be first to know. And always remember, everybody, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.